We're here today with Mealy to discuss the importance of offering good quality and good quantities of drinking water every day. It seems to be all over the internet. We have discussions all the time about the importance of offering different dietary regimes to our birds. There's a lot of argument and controversy regarding that. But without a doubt, there is definitely one important thing about nutrition, and it's the quality of water that's being offered to our birds. The location of Harry was greatly influenced by the availability and quality of drinking water that we were going to be able to get to provide water to our breeding colony. Of course, the main objective of our research institute was to study long-term effects of extruded diets such as Tropican on our flock. And so if we would have been challenged with less than optimal water source, this would have caused a lot of variations in our study and confused things greatly. And so it's very important that we now talk just for a few seconds about the importance of you as a caretaker to be able to assess the quality of drinking water that you're providing to your companion parrot. Depending on the geographical, geological, and climate zone in which you live, different health concerns can be found within your water. This can be a variation from bacteria, different parasites such as Giardia, perhaps if you live in the southern regions of the world. There can also be different pesticides found in the soil that surrounds the well water that you're offering your birds. There's also heavy metal poisoning that can be, once again, in the surrounding soil, thus affecting the well water that you are supplying your birds. Or you could be offering municipal water that has too much chloramines in it, and then once again this could pose some kind of health concern to your birds. So inquire about what kind of water quality you are offering your companion parrot, and don't go into this blindly. Try and get a little bit of information from your avian veterinarian in your region just to make sure you're assessing properly the quality of water offered to your bird. Fortunately, in this day and age, there are so many numerous accessories available to be used as water dispensers or dishes or water bottles for our companion parrots that it becomes more of a challenge to figure out which one we should be buying. It also all depends on your bird and, of course, his lifestyle. And, of course, these have to be well adjusted to your bird's cage and environment. So the water dishes that you're going to choose to go onto your activity gym will be different, obviously, than the water bottle that you will choose to go on your day cage. And usually in the night cage, we offer a water bowl because the water bottle might be a little bit more difficult to locate. So this all depends, like I said before, on your bird's abilities to drink from either a spout of a water bottle or from a water dish. Now, of course, all of these have different properties. And the most important one that we have to mention is that the glass has the most exceptional properties. These are the ones that usually ensure that the bacteria doesn't adhere to this material as easily as it would a less quality plastic dish. Of course, the stainless steel also has amazing hygienic properties, and usually the water that is replenished daily, and of course the bowl is always cleaned daily, will have less likely to be sticking and adhering to the bottom of the surface of the stainless steel should bacteria start to grow in it. Stainless steel, of course, and a ceramic dish can also have the same properties, provided that this is not porous. Plastic water bottles, on the other hand, and plastic dishes need to be changed and thoroughly disinfected more often. Because of the fact that they are plastic, slight abrasions in these will encourage bacteria to harbor within the cracks of the plastic. And so despite the fabrication of them and the different brands or availability for these, it remains that they're plastic. And so in choosing these, ideally, at least try and buy more than one. Usually their costs are least, and so you are capable of investing a little bit more to have several of them so you then can change them more easily. Somewhere where bacteria harbors all the time, and that numerous caretakers, whether it be for birds or small animals or other animals, forget to look to see the growth is inside of the spout. And so ideally these are usually without rubber And they can be easily and thoroughly cleaned either with a Q-tip or cotton tip applicator, or be placed into the dishwasher for thorough disinfection and cleaning. This is somewhere you also want to make sure every day that you're making certainty that the water bottle isn't dripping, because of course this would be a nightmare for a husbandry issue and cleansing of your cage. But you want to make sure that birds that have a water bottle being dispensed to them in a bottle have either a backup source of water in a dish in case the water regrettably starts to leak from the spout. This can happen sometimes when we have food that gets entrapped into the nozzle, and regrettably this can have devastating consequences, especially if you're living in a tropical zone and it's very, very hot that day. So especially during those specific days, you want to make sure that the bird has ample water supply sources, and you want to make sure that you're covering yourself up for any eventual disasters that might arise. Regardless of your choice of water bottle, whether it be plastic or glass, just the fact that your bird is trained to a water bottle has several hygienic advantages. And I always like to think from a veterinarian technician point of view, definitely has an easier method for you to quantify the amount of water being drank every day, which I think is so important. But on a husbandry point of view, it makes it so much easier because the birds don't have the tendency to soak their food in it. It's also easier for you to see the quality of the water because they're usually easy for you to see through it. So this is a great advantage. Millie was educated at a young fledgling age to drink both from a water dish and also from a water dispenser. This really helps us now that we're traveling with him, because when he's spending time in his travel carrier, he actually has a water bottle that he knows how to drink from, which is extremely important when traveling with a bird, because the first thing that usually happens when we're traveling with them and they get a little bit stressed out because they're unfamiliar with their new environment is usually they stop drinking. And once a bird suffers from slight dehydration, usually the gut also gets a little bit lazy. So this is something that needs to be ensured, more importantly than anything else, when it comes to traveling with your bird, but also something that should be a consideration every day in your bird's life when he is homed in his environment. Any increase in water consumption could indicate a health concern, such as a kidney problem, or often when we are unfortunately offering too much sugary fruits, especially fruits from orchards, we are stimulating now a greater consumption of water. And this is usually because of the fact that the birds are consuming too much sugar. So it definitely can help in you assessing diet and also health for your companion bird. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? The amount of water that your bird will be drinking on a daily basis is something you should be aware of. Not necessarily calculating millimeter per millimeter, but if you use a water bottle as a daily source of water for your day cage, you should have a good idea as to how much water your bird drinks on a daily basis. Now, for most companion parrot owners, your birds are not necessarily reproducing, and they're having a lifestyle that's very different from birds that are breeding. But for aviculturists that have a breeding colony, there's often a necessity to offer a water dish as well as a water bottle or automatic watering system. And for many of us, we want the birds to have constant availability of food. We want them to be able to soak. In our situation, they are exclusively fed our Tropican pellets, and so if they want to be able to soak them prior to being fed to their chicks, then that would be a possibility for them. Whereas if we only offer them a nozzle with automatic watering, then this is going to be more challenging for them. Additional to that, there's a lot of female hens that may wish to, regrettably, use their water dish to bathe in just prior to having egg-laying activity. And so this is always sometimes something that we want to make sure that the birds have access to just prior to the onset of the breeding season.